The diner fell silent when the door burst open. A little girl, no older than 8, stumbled in, cheeks streaked with tears. "Please, someone help. They hurt my grandpa," she cried. Outside, an old man lay in the dust, bruised and bleeding, while engines roared to life in the distance. Before we start this story, tell us where in the world you are watching from. Also, please subscribe to the channel. It will help us to bring you more inspiring stories every day. The sun was low over Milford County when Tommy Garrison, a retired mechanic in his late 60s, parked his rusted pickup near the old diner. He wore a leather vest faded from years on the road, a relic from a life once lived fast. Inside, his granddaughter Ellie, 8, pressed her nose to the glass. "Grandpa, can we get pie today?" she asked. He smiled softly. "Only if you promise not to tell your grandma I'm spoiling you again." The waitress laughed, pouring him coffee. For a moment, life was simple, until the door opened and trouble walked in. 3 young men, loud, drunk, and mean-eyed. Wearing arrogance like armor, they took a booth across from Tommy and Ellie, sneering. "Hey, old man," one of them called out. "Didn't know fossils still rode bikes." Tommy ignored it. He'd lived long enough to know silence was power. But Ellie frowned. "Don't be mean to my grandpa," she said bravely. The men laughed. "Cute kid," another sneered. "Guess you taught her to mouth off too." Tommy stood, placing a few bills on the counter. "Come on, sweetheart," he murmured. "We're leaving." But the tallest of them blocked the door. "Not so fast, biker boy. Let's see if you still got some fight left." The diner's chatter froze. Even the jukebox seemed to hold its breath. Outside, the evening wind carried dust and the smell of gasoline. Tommy tried reason. "You don't want to do this, son. Go home." But reason was lost in liquor and pride. A shove came first, then a punch, quick and cruel. Tommy stumbled, shielding Ellie behind him. "Grandpa," she screamed. He went down on one knee, his breath knocked out. The men laughed, kicking aside before spitting near him. "Tell your biker buddies the world's moved on, old man." They left him bleeding on the gravel as Ellie knelt, shaking. "Grandpa, wake up." A voice across the road, a man in leather, helmet under his arm, had seen it all. Ryder Smoke Dalton, a member of the local Hells Angels chapter, had stopped for gas nearby. He froze when he saw the child crying beside the fallen man. He knelt. "Hey, sweetheart, I'm Smoke. I'm gonna help your grandpa, okay?" Ellie looked up, tears blurring her freckles. "They hurt him. They hurt my grandpa." Smoke's jaw tightened. "I saw." He called his brothers on the radio. "We got a situation at Milford Diner." Minutes later, the low rumble of engines echoed through the street. 1, then 3, then 12. Chrome and thunder arrived together, and in that moment, the town's silence turned to awe and fear. The bikers lifted Tommy carefully, bringing him inside the diner. The waitress gasped, rushing for a first aid kit. Ellie held her grandpa's hand, whispering, "Please don't leave me." Smoke's eyes burned with quiet fury. "Who did this?" A trucker pointed down the road. They went toward the old mill. Smoke nodded once. "Then that's where we're going." Tommy stirred weakly. Don't make it worse," he muttered. Smoke bent close. "You raised the right kind of courage in that little girl. We'll handle this our way." Outside, helmets went on. The engines roared again, a storm brewing beneath chrome skies. Night crawled in over Milford. The gang of 3 sat by a campfire near the mill, bragging and laughing about the old biker. Then came the sound, low, steady, like thunder rolling across the earth. They turned. Headlights lined the horizon, moving closer, brighter, louder. One of them stood, cursing. "What the hell?" Too late. The angels surrounded them, 25 bikes forming a ring of steel and firelight. Smoke dismounted slowly, pulling off his gloves. "You boys picked the wrong man to humiliate." The tallest one spat. "What are you? His bodyguards?" Smoke's voice was low. "No, we're his family." The confrontation wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. The young man's arrogance shrank beneath the weight of a brotherhood, united by respect. Smoke stepped closer. "That man you beat, he built bikes before your parents even met. He earned every scar you mocked." One of them stammered. "We didn't mean." Smoke cut him off. "You did, but you're gonna fix what you broke." He tossed them a rag and a toolkit. "His truck's still at the diner. You'll clean it, wash it, fix the dent you made. Then you'll apologize to the man and to the kid." The silence was heavier than anger. Then one nodded, trembling. Back at the diner, Tommy was awake but pale. Ellie sat beside him, still holding his hand. When the bikers returned, she looked up in confusion. The same men who hurt her grandpa were now polishing his truck under Smoke's watchful eye. Tommy frowned. "What's this?" Smoke smiled faintly. "Restoration of respect," the waitress whispered. "Never seen anything like it." Ellie's eyes widened when one of the men approached her with a small toy motorcycle. "I'm sorry, kid, for everything." She looked at Smoke. "Are they good now?" Smoke nodded. Sometimes people forget what it means to stand for something. Tonight, they remembered. The night ended with quiet gratitude. Tommy, still sore, managed to stand and shake Smoke's hand. "I didn't think the angels still looked out for old men like me." Smoke chuckled. "We don't look at age, only loyalty." Ellie tugged Smoke's sleeve. "Can I ride on one someday?" He smiled softly. "One day, when your grandpa says yes." The gang that caused trouble left humbled and silent, their laughter replaced by lessons they'd never forget. But somewhere inside Smoke, the fire hadn't gone out yet. He'd seen the bruises on Tommy's ribs. More than fists caused those. Something deeper was wrong. The next morning, Smoke returned to the diner. Tommy was there, bruised but standing tall. "You didn't need to come back," he said. Smoke leaned on the counter. "Didn't sit right with me. Those guys acted like they owned this town. That means someone's letting them." Tommy sighed. "The sheriff's nephew runs with them sometimes. I've complained, but nobody listens to an old biker." Smoke's eyes darkened. "Then maybe it's time someone did." He walked outside, dialing a number. "Brothers, it ain't over. We're cleaning this whole mess up." And for Milford County, justice was about to roar louder than thunder. By dusk, the Milford diner was buzzing with quiet talk. People had heard what happened, how the angels had stood up for an old man when no one else did. Ellie sat by the window, watching rain blur the world outside. "Grandpa, are they coming back?" Tommy smiled faintly. "Maybe. They usually do when they've got something left to fix." Out on the road, far beyond the sound of thunder, the angels rode again, Smoke at the front, his jacket heavy with years of loyalty. Behind them, a pickup truck followed Tommy's truck, with Ellie and the waitress inside. Smoke had told them, "If you're ready to face it, come see what justice looks like." The sheriff's office sat on the edge of town, its lights flickering in the rain. Inside, Deputy Clay, the sheriff's nephew, leaned back with a smirk as the three young men from last night bragged about their lesson to the old biker. Then came the sound, the same low growl that had haunted their sleep. "Engines many." Clay frowned, walking to the window. Dozens of headlights cut through the rain like burning eyes. The angels parked in perfect formation, chrome glistening under lightning. Smoke stepped off his bike, water dripping from his jacket. "Evening, Deputy. Got a minute?" Clay reached for his holster. Smoke didn't flinch. "Relax. We're just talking." Inside, tension crackled like the storm outside. Smoke dropped a small voice recorder on the desk. One of the truckers had captured the attack on his dashcam. "Funny thing," Smoke said, "the law should have handled this. But the law's been too busy protecting its own." Clay's jaw tightened. "You don't scare me." Smoke leaned closer, voice calm but cutting. "We ain't here to scare you. We're here to remind you. You swore an oath to protect, not bully." Tommy stepped in, slow but steady, rain still in his hair. "You let them beat a man half to death. Clay, what kind of badge stands for that?" Clay sneered. "The kind that still runs this town." Smoke smiled thinly. "Not anymore." Outside, the townspeople gathered under umbrellas, whispers spreading like wildfire. The angels stood silently beside their bikes, engines idling, rain hissing off chrome. One by one, locals joined the waitress, the truckers, even the mechanic from down the road. Inside, Smoke's words echoed, "When good men do nothing, bad ones feel brave." The sheriff himself finally arrived, an older man, worn by guilt. "What's this all about?" Smoke handed him the dashcam footage. "Proof that your deputy's been protecting trash." The sheriff's eyes hardened. He turned to Clay. "You're suspended, effective immediately." Clay's smirk vanished. The angels didn't cheer, they simply nodded. Justice didn't need applause, only truth. When the dust settled, Tommy stood outside under the rain, Ellie clinging to his arm. Smoke approached quietly. "It's done. No one's touching you again." Tommy's voice trembled. "You didn't just protect me. You gave this town its backbone back." Cliff looked away. "We just reminded folks what it looks like." Ellie reached out her hand. In her small palm was a keychain shaped like a silver wing. "For you," she said. Smoke crouched down. "What's this for?" "So you don't forget, Grandpa." He smiled. "I won't." and neither will they. The storm had passed, but the sound of loyalty lingered like thunder fading into sunrise. 2 days later, the diner reopened. The air smelled of coffee and fresh hope. Locals came not just for pie, but to shake Tommy's hand. Ellie sat at her favorite stool, drawing little motorcycles on napkins. "Grandpa, can I write a thank you card for the bikers?" He chuckled. "You can, but they probably don't get much mail." The waitress placed a box on the counter, the one Smoke had left behind. Inside was a folded leather vest patched with the words "Honor doesn't retire." Tommy's eyes stung. "That old fool," he whispered. "He's giving me back what I thought I'd lost." He put it on, the weight of it like memory returning home. Meanwhile, Smoke and the Angels rode north, the highway stretching endless before them. "Think the old man'll be okay?" one rider asked. Smoke nodded. "He's tougher than any of us. Besides, he's got that little girl watching his back now." They laughed softly, the kind of laughter that heals more than it hides. As the sun broke through the clouds, Smoke took one last look in the mirror, the small silver wing dangling from his handlebar glinting in the light. He muttered, "You did good, kid." The road ahead gleamed gold, carrying them toward their next silent promise, to stand where no one else would. Back in Milford, life began to change. The sheriff cleaned the house, new deputies were sworn in, and the diner added a new sign near the door, "Respect is served here." Tommy fixed old bikes again, this time with Ellie sitting beside him handing tools. "Why do you love fixing bikes so much, Grandpa?" she asked. He smiled. "Because every broken piece can work again if you care enough to rebuild it." Ellie tilted her head. "Like you," he chuckled. "Exactly like me." She looked toward the road. "Do you think they'll ever come back?" Tommy wiped his hands. "Maybe not today, but you'll know when they do. You'll hear them before you see them." Weeks later, on a clear Saturday morning, the familiar rumble returned. Ellie ran to the window, shouting, "Grandpa, they're here." The Angels pulled in, their jackets gleaming. Smoke dismounted and handed Ellie a tiny helmet. "You earned this," he said. Tommy laughed, eyes misting. "Guess she's got friends in high places now." Ellie climbed onto Smoke's bike as Tommy watched, pride swelling where fear used to live. They rode once around the block, engines singing like freedom itself. When they returned, Smoke patted Tommy's shoulder. "For what it's worth, you remind us what real bikers stand for." Tommy nodded. "And you remind this town what real men do." That night, the sky over Milford glowed orange with sunset. Tommy sat on his porch, Ellie asleep on his lap, her tiny toy motorcycle beside her. He looked at the road, empty now, but still humming in his heart. For all his years, he'd thought respect was something you had to earn alone. But that night proved something deeper. Sometimes it takes a brotherhood of strangers to remind the world that kindness has teeth and loyalty roars louder than hate. He whispered into the wind, "Ride safe, boys." And somewhere in the distance, a faint echo answered, "Always." If this story moved you, hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon. It helps us share more powerful stories of loyalty, kindness, and humanity. Tell us in the comments, would you stand up for a stranger like they did? Until next time, ride safe and ride with honor.